Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Our today's module is related to the optimized TCP in wireless links. We are considering the variants of TCP which are adaptable to the wireless links in the previous module and in the subsequent modules also. In the previous module we had discussed one of the variants of TCP which is adapted to the wireless link, which was proposed by Kahn and was known as ITCP. Now, what is the need? We had also discussed what is the need of the optimized TCP variants for wireless links. The standard TCP works well for fixed networks and for fixed computers. It provides a reliable transmission by retransmission in the case of timeouts, and it handles the packet losses and delays very efficiently. But as we have seen in the previous module also that TCP understands congestion as the reason of packet loss, since there cannot be any other reason other than the congestion in the wired networks, because the bit error rates in the wired networks are very low. So, the TCP reacts to this situation by going into a slow start condition. A slow start condition is a condition in which the packets are retransmitted by reducing the window size. This situation works well in the wired networks, but in wireless networks there are many other reasons than the congestion for the packet losses. For example, the improper handovers can lead to a packet loss, the temporary disconnection of the device can lead to a packet loss, and most importantly the error links on the wireless networks are much higher as compared to the wired network. So, in this situation we cannot directly replicate the standard TCP in the wireless links, because unnecessarily it will go into slow start, which will lead to the improper utilization of bandwidths, more delays and the decrease in throughput, hence degrading the performances. To improve this situation, there have many TCP variants which have been proposed, and this is a increased area of research since the last decade. One of the proposed protocol known as ITCP we discussed in the last module. So, the goal of the protocols for TCP in the wireless networks is that number one, the protocol should be such that it should not go into slow start when the packet lost is due to some other reason, right, because it will reduce the performance. And the second thing is that we cannot change the entire TCP, because all the applications for the fixed computers are based on the wired or the standard TCP, and it is not possible to change the standard TCP throughout. So, there must be some protocol which works in such a way that it is optimized with respect to the wireless links also, and at the same time I should not make the changes in the whole TCP. So, ITCP did the same work, that is it divided the TCP connection between the fixed computer and the mobile computer into two parts with the base station or a foreign agent as an intermediator. The packets from the fixed computer to the mobile host were taken by the base station or the foreign agent, and the acknowledgement was given. Then that packet was forwarded to the mobile host, and the mobile host gave the acknowledgement back to the base station or the foreign agent. This of course increased the performance, because both the links were isolated from each other. That is, error on the wired link was not propagated on the wireless links, and the errors on wireless link were handled there itself, and they were also not propagated on the wired link. So, this increased the performance, but the most important disadvantage of that scheme was that the end-to-end semantics is lost. That is, if the foreign agent or the base station which is acting as the intermediate crashes, then the whole connection will be lost. Secondly, at the time of handover, the packets which are with the foreign agent or the base stations and are yet to be communicated to the mobile host, then those packets need to be handed over to the new base station when the mobile host moves to that area, because those packets have been already acknowledged by the foreign agent and the base station. So, the most important limitation which we can say of ITCP was that the packets were acknowledged even before it reached the actual sender. it is also a security threat when the foreign agent or the base station gets compromised. So, today in this module we will be discussing another protocol which was proposed by Balakrishna et al. In 1995 and is known as the SNOOP or the snooping protocol. How it overcomes the limitations of ITCP, as we just discussed, was that ITCP breaks the connection into two parts, and the intermediator is responsible for taking the packets and giving the acknowledgements. The revision to this scheme is made in snooping TCP in a way that in the snooping protocol there is an intermediator. The intermediator can be a base station or a foreign agent, but this intermediator does not give the acknowledgement to the sender. Then what is the work of this intermediator? The intermediator just snoops the flow of packets and the acknowledgements in both the directions, and the second thing which it does is that it caches the packets. Now, what it will do with these cached packets? So, what is happening is, let us see that if a packet is transmitted from a fixed computer to a mobile host, and what the intermediator will do is that it will observe the flow of packet in that particular direction. At the same time, it will maintain a cache. It will keep the packet with it and will observe the acknowledgement. So, in case it does not receive the acknowledgement from the mobile host, or a duplicate acknowledgement is received, or a timeout has occurred, then in that case it will perform the retransmission in much smaller time. So, what is happening is that, what is the intermediator here doing? That the intermediator is just snooping the flow of packets and acknowledgements, and it is buffering the packets with it. So, in case of packet loss or in case of missing acknowledgements or the duplicate acknowledgements only, it retransmits the packet. The foreign agent or the base station also maintain its own local retransmission timer, so that if the packet which is it is retransmitting to the mobile host does not reach, then a local timeout can occur and hence it can retransmit that particular packet. So, in this module we will be discussing the design of this SNOOP protocol, where it is, how it is implemented, what are the modules of this particular SNOOP protocol and how they function. Now, let us understand the design of the SNOOP protocol. You can see in the figure that, as we just discussed the overall design, that is, there is a fixed computer or the fixed host, and there is a mobile host. There is a foreign agent which is in between the fixed host and the mobile host. The function of this foreign agent is snooping of acknowledgements and buffering of data and local retransmission in case the packet is being lost. To understand the design of the SNOOP protocol, let us consider two cases when the packet is being transmitted from the fixed host to the mobile host, and when the packet is transmitted from the mobile host to the fixed host. We will see that what are the additional mechanisms which are implemented at the base station or the foreign agent and the mobile host to implement this design. The protocol requires a change in the routing code of base station by adding a snooping module at the base station or the foreign agent. The function of this module is to monitor the packets passing through the connection in both the directions. No transport layer coding is required at this particular base station. That is, the snooping module is installed at the base station. The snoop module maintains cache of TCP packets sent from fixed host, but are not yet acknowledged by the mobile host. That is, the packets are cached until they are acknowledged by the mobile host. The snooping module also keeps track of the acknowledgement sent from the mobile host. If the packet loss is detected by the base station, either by, now what are the reasons or how does it interprets the packet loss? Either by the arrival of duplicate acknowledgement or by local timeout, it retransmits the lost packet to the mobile host which has been cached. The SNOOP module has two procedures, SNOOP data and SNOOP acknowledgements. As the name itself indicates, the SNOOP data processes packets from the fixed host and the Snoop acknowledgement processes acknowledgements coming from the mobile host and drives local retransmission. We will be discussing these two procedures in detail. First, let us discuss what happens in the Snoop data procedure. You can just look at the flow chart also given in the PPT. So, what the Snoop data does? It processes the packets from the fixed host. Now, how it identifies the packet? A TCP packet is uniquely identified by the sequence number of its first byte of data and size. The base station or the access point keeps track of last sequence number seen for connection. Okay. So, the packets arriving at the base station from the fixed computer, they can be of one of the three types which I will be just mentioning. The number 1, you can also refer to the flow chart given in the slide for considering these three types of packets. First, the packet arrives in the normal in sequence. So, this is a normal packet. So, for every new packet there will be an increase in the sequence number. So, this packet is simply added to the Snoop cache and forwarded to the mobile host. Now, why do I need to add it in the Snoop cache? Because I have not yet received the acknowledgements from the mobile host. So, till the acknowledgement is received, till then this packet is placed in the Snoop cache. At the same time, a timestamp is also placed on one packet per transmitted window to estimate the round trip time of the wireless link. The second type of packet which can arrive is out of sequence packet. What do I mean by out of sequence packet? That is, all in sequence packet means the sequence numbers are in order like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Out of sequence means the sequence number of the packet is out of this particular sequence, like I can get a 7, or if I am getting like sequence number as 4, 5, 6, 7, I can get a sequence number 5 and so on. So, these type of packets are known as out of sequence packets. Now, there are two possibilities when the base station or the foreign agent or the intermediator observes a out of sequence packets. Now, that out of sequence packets might already being cached with the base station or the foreign agent, or it might not been cached. Okay. So, what the base station or the foreign agent do in these two different situations, we will just see. When the out of sequence packet is being cached earlier, the base station sees whether this packet sequence number is greater than or less than the last acknowledged packet. Now, why is this thing done? As I said that the base station observes the packets by observing the sequence number of the packet. At the same time, it is also observing the acknowledgements. So, acknowledgements also it is keeping track of the acknowledgements by the sequence number of the packets. Now, a packet arrives which is out of sequence and is in the cached is in the Snoop cache of the base station. So, what the base station does is that it will compare the sequence number of this out of sequence packet with the sequence number of the packet which has been acknowledged, that is last acknowledgement. Okay. So, if the sequence number is greater than the last acknowledged packet, it would mean that the packet has not reached the mobile host earlier and hence it needs to be forwarded. Like suppose the sequence number of out of sequence packet is 4, the last acknowledgement seen is 3. Now, the obviously that the fourth packet, the last acknowledgement is 3 and the sequence number which has been observed is 4, which makes the base station understands that this packet has not reached the mobile host. So, now it is his responsibility to forward this packet to the mobile host. So, you can see in the flow chart also that when the sequence number is greater than the last acknowledged packet, it means that the packet did not reach the mobile host earlier and hence it needs to be forwarded to the mobile host. But if the sequence number is less than the previously acknowledged number, it is assumed that that packet has already been received by the mobile host. So, what should be done? Should that particular packet be discarded, that is the Snoop cache be cleared with that particular packet? No, this is not a wise decision, because it might be possible that the packet has reached the mobile host, but the acknowledgement from the mobile host to the fixed computer might have been lost due to the congestion or some error on the wireless link. So, in this condition what should be done is that a TCP acknowledgement corresponding to the last acknowledgement seen at the base station is generated with source address and port number of the mobile host and sent to the foreign host. So, this is a situation when an out of sequence packet arrives and it is already in the cache. The third situation is that out of sequence packet has arrived, but it has not been cached. This is the case when the packet is lost due to congestion or it is delivered out of the order by the network. So, this packet should be forwarded to the mobile host, and the additional information regarding packet retransmission by the sender should be associated with the base station. Now, what will the base station do with this additional information? We will see in the next procedure of the Snoop protocol, that is the Snoop acknowledgement. In the Snoop data procedure, we have seen that the base station observes the packets by looking at the sequence numbers and then takes the necessary action depending on the whether the packet is the in sequence packet or out sequence packet, and for the out sequence packets it takes the necessary action depending on whether it is already in the cache or not in the cache. So, let us move to the next procedure, that is the Snoop acknowledgement. As the name itself indicates that this module monitors and processes the acknowledgements sent by the mobile host, and different types of actions are performed depending on type and number of acknowledgements received. Now, again the different type of acknowledgements can receive or can be seen by the base stations. So, what are these different types of acknowledgements? The first is the natural and the most anticipated acknowledgement, that is a packet is transmitted from the fixed host to the mobile host. The mobile host receives that packet and it sends back the acknowledgement. So, this acknowledgement is seen by the base station or the foreign agent. So, this is a new acknowledgement. You can see in the flow chart that this is the first case when a new acknowledgement is received. So, what should be done? We have already seen that the base station or the access point buffers the packet until it receives the acknowledgement for that particular packet. Now, here it has seen the acknowledgement from the mobile host. So, what it should do is it should clear the Snoop cache, that is it should discard that particular packet for which the acknowledgement has been received. At the same time, the acknowledgement is also forwarded to the fixed host. Second type of acknowledgement is a spurious acknowledgement, that is it is the acknowledgement for a packet with sequence number less than the last seen acknowledgement. Now, when the sequence number is less than the last seen acknowledgement, it is clearly understood that the packet has already been received. So, this acknowledgement is discarded. The third case is that when a base station sees duplicate acknowledgement. Now, what is a duplicate acknowledgement? The duplicate acknowledgement is same as the previous one. The receipt of a duplicate acknowledgement indicates that the next packet in sequence with the duplicate acknowledged packet has not been received by the mobile host. What does it mean? It means that suppose packet number 1 is sent, acknowledgement is received, packet number 2 is sent, acknowledgement is received, packet number 3 is sent, acknowledgement received, packet number 4 is sent, but the acknowledgement for the packet sequence number 3 is received. So, for all the subsequent packets after 4, the same acknowledgements would be given, interpreting that the packet number 4 is being lost. But it might be possible that the subsequent packets are getting received. So, for those subsequent packets also the same acknowledgement is given, and this is known as duplicate acknowledgement. So, when the base station or the foreign agent notices duplicate acknowledgement, it takes action depending on the Snoop cache state and the type of acknowledgement. one of the many actions is taken depending on the type of duplicate acknowledgement and the current state of the Snoop. The first case, when the duplicate acknowledgement is received for a packet that is not in the Snoop cache or is marked as being retransmitted by the sender. If the packet is not in the cache, now it needs to be resent by the foreign agent, because I have no way to get that packet again. So, I can resend the packet from the base station only if it is cached. Now, if the duplicate acknowledgement is received indicating that there is a packet loss, and if it is not in a cache, then obviously it has to be sent from the fixed host. Okay. And it might be understood that now the packet loss can be due to the congestion. Therefore, the congestion control mechanisms should be applied before the packet is being retransmitted. If the packet is marked as a sender retransmitted packet, now the duplicate acknowledgement should be routed to the fixed host, because the TCP stack then maintains state based on the number of duplicate acknowledgements it receives and when it receives a packet. Therefore, in both the situations when the duplicate acknowledgement is received, it should be routed to the fixed host. The second case is that when the Snoop acknowledgement module gets a duplicate acknowledgement, but it is the first duplicate acknowledgement which arrives for the packet after a subsequent packet in the stream reaches the mobile host. So, what will happen is that suppose the fourth packet is being lost. So, 5, 6, 7th packet reaches the mobile host. So, the same duplicate acknowledgement will be given for these packets also. To minimize this situation, what is done, that I need to transmit only packet number 4, that is a packet with sequence number 4. So, it should be retransmitted fastly, so that I do not get more and more duplicate acknowledgement. So, what is done is that to retransmit this packet fastly, two queues are maintained separately, that is, one is the fast queue and one is the average queue. So, in the fast queue, the packets in the queued in the fast queue are retransmitted fastly. So, what will happen is that when the duplicate acknowledgements for 5, 6, 7 and so on packets are received, so by the meantime the packet number 4 would be resent using the fast queue. So, this will reduce the number of duplicate acknowledgements. The third case occurs when the missing packet has already been retransmitted when the first duplicate acknowledgement for that arrives. So, in this case the acknowledgement should be discarded. Okay. Now, we have seen that retransmitting packets at the higher priority by putting it in the fast queue improves the performance when the error is low or medium. But in high, when the error rate on the wireless link is high, then this is of no use, because in that case every packet needs to be retransmit again. So, there is no point in keeping some packets in the high priority queue and some packets in low priority queue. Therefore, the Snoop protocol improves the performance by fast retransmitting the high priority packets, but only when the error on the wireless link is low or medium and not very high. These are the two procedures of the Snoop protocol we have discussed, that is the Snoop data and the Snoop acknowledgements when the packet is transmitted from the fixed host to the mobile host. Let us look at another scenario when the packet is transmitted from the mobile host to the fixed host. Now, here when the transmission is other way round, the mobile host has no reason or no way to find that whether the packet is lost due to the congestion or some error on the wireless links. Therefore, the Snoop protocol also suggests some additional mechanism on the mobile host or on the base station to handle this type of situation. The Snoop protocol proposes the track of lost packets to be kept. So, whenever there is a packet lost, the negative acknowledgements are generated for these lost packets back to the mobile host from the base station. This is helpful when there are several packet losses in a single transmission window, which might be due to high interference, or when the strength of quality of the signal is low, a situation very typical to the wireless links. So, on receiving the negative acknowledgement, the mobile host retransmits the missing packet immediately, and this retransmitted packet would arrive out of sequence of the base fixed host. Therefore, it should be reordered at the fixed host. So, we have seen that when the data is transmitted from fixed host to the mobile host, some mechanism or the procedures are required at the base station or the access point, and similarly when there is the transmission from the mobile host to the fixed host, additional mechanism is also required at the mobile host. But we have seen that no additional mechanism is required on the fixed host, because those fixed hosts should not undergo any changes to comply with the standard TCP, because we cannot afford to change the standard TCP on which our complete internet or the WWW lies. Let us see a situation that what will happen or how this protocol will behave when a handoff occurs. We have seen that the intermediator is the base station or the foreign agent. So, when a handoff occurs, the packets for the mobile host should be forwarded to its new area, that is the new base station or the new foreign agent. So, what is done is that now the new base station or the foreign agent should be prepared for this snooping and the buffering process. So, whenever the handoff situation is anticipated either by the mobile host or the base station, the new base station is instructed to get prepared for the snooping and buffering. So, the information related to the current states are forwarded to the base station. Now, the transition state in which the base station or the foreign agent is preparing is called the buffering state, and at this during this transition state, the base stations cannot snoop into the acknowledgement. But as soon as the handoff occurs, snoop cache is synchronized to the new base station and the process continues. We have discussed the design of the snoop protocol and the two procedures which are used, that is the snoop data and the snoop acknowledgements. We said that the snoop protocol overcomes the limitations of ITCP, that is the snooping TCP overcomes some of the limitations of ITCP. Let us see how it does. So, the advantages of snooping TCP. First, as we have seen in ITCP is that end-to-end semantics was lost, because the intermediator, that is the foreign agent or the base station, was performing the task of taking the packets, giving the acknowledgement and then forwarding the packets. So, in case the base station or the access point crashed, the whole connection was lost. But in snooping TCP, since the base station or the access point or the foreign agent is not giving the acknowledgement, it is just snooping or buffering the packets and snooping the acknowledgements, therefore, the end-to-end semantics is lost. So, in that case, if the base station or the foreign agent crashes also, the scheme will automatically follow into the standard TCP and there will be no loss of connection. The second advantage is that this protocol does not expect any changes made to the fixed computer, which is the basic criteria for any optimized TCP variant. The third advantage is that in the case of handover, if some of the packets are not handed over to the new base station, still a timeout at the fixed host will occur and the packet will be retransmitted. The fourth advantage is that if the new base station do not comply with this scheme, the approach will fall automatically into the standard TCP. Now, since everything has got advantages also and the limitations also, let us see that what are the limitations of this scheme. The first limitation is that now what will happen when the packet is lost or delayed when it is retransmitted from the base station to the foreign agent. So, if the packet is lost or delayed during the retransmission from the buffer of the foreign agent due to the error on the wireless link, timeout will occur at the fixed host also. So, that is the error on the wireless link is not isolated from the fixed host. Moreover, the wireless link offers very high delay as compared to the wired links, almost of the order of 10. So, in this case the timeouts at the foreign agent and also at the fixed host will almost become equal, and hence this scheme will be almost inefficient. The second and the most obvious limitation of this scheme is, what this scheme is doing, it is snooping, and snooping would be not applicable at all if there is end-to-end encryption between the fixed host and the mobile host, because it is observing the TCP headers and it is looking into the sequence numbers. So, as per RFC 2406 in IP encapsulation security payload, TCP protocol headers are also encrypted, and the snooping on sequence numbers will not be possible if such thing has been done. The second limitation is use of negative acknowledgement between the foreign agent and the mobile host. Additional mechanisms assumes additional mechanisms on the mobile host, that is, extra mechanisms are required on the mobile host. And the last limitations which we will be discussing is that the retransmission from the foreign agent or the base station may not work in the schemes which prevent replay attack. Yes, because in that case, when the foreign agent or the base station will retransmit the packet, it will be understood as the replay attack. Therefore, snooping protocol is used only when encryption is applied above the transport layer. So, in this scheme we have discussed the snooping protocol. We have seen that how the snooping protocol is designed to overcome the limitations of ITCP. We had discussed the design of the snooping protocol. We discussed that the snoop module is installed at the intermediator, that is the base station at the foreign agent, and it has got two procedures, snoop data and snoop acknowledgement. The function of these two procedures is to observe the flow of packet and the flow of acknowledgement in both the directions, and the snooping modules also keeps a cache of the packets which have not been acknowledged by the mobile host. So, in case there is a missing acknowledgement or a duplicate acknowledgement, then that cached packet is retransmitted back to the mobile host. We also saw some of the advantages and limitations of this protocol. The strong advantage of this scheme is that end-to-end semantics is preserved, but the limitation is that the overall snooping will fail if there is end-to-end encryption between the fixed host and the mobile host. As I discussed initially in this module or in our discussion, that there have been many variants proposed for the transport control protocol on the wireless links. So, in the next module we will be discussing more of these protocols. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.